Hi, and welcome to Cosmic Traveler, the one-stop shop for all of your astrology meets travel needs. My name is Shayna Conde, and today I'm continuing a series where I talk about the importance of intersectionality in astrology. And today's example, I'm going to be using my astrocartography chart to talk about why this is so important and how this can actually help to keep you out of dangerous situations. So first, what is astrocartography? So astrocartography is basically your birth chart, your natal chart, superimposed over the globe. So your birth chart, your natal chart shows you, okay, so this is what the stars were doing above this specific city that you were born at the specific time that you were born. Astrocartography takes that idea and superimposes it over the globe. So you can see different aspects and different planets and how they were interacting across cities, across continents. And that can give you a little bit of insight as to best places for romance, best places for a quick fling, best places for career, best places for et cetera, et cetera. It can also show you places that you should probably avoid or ways to mitigate some of the negative things that can pop up in certain places. But there's always a caveat. And the caveat is intersectionality. How does this show up? Let's look at my birth chart right over Moscow, Russia. Let's go. All right, I know that I said this is my astrocartography line, my chart, don't mind me, words are hard sometimes. So that right there, that's Moscow. That's Moscow. And every now and then, lines or planets' trajectories will cross. It doesn't happen super often in your astrocartography chart, but it does happen every now and then. I will say it happens a couple times in mine. I've seen other people's charts where it happens a couple times, but generally the lines tend to stay to themselves. This crossing though, this is my Mars AC and Neptune DC, Mars ascendant, Neptune descendant, and they cross a few miles out from Moscow. What does that mean? Let's dive in. This could be a critical place for you. You appear less assertive and convincing, and decisions may go wrong. This is especially the case if you think assertion in commonplace, if you think of assertion in a commonplace way. In this place, you may find it easier to reach your goals if you go with the flow of the circumstances rather than fighting them. We're gonna pause here. I was a Black woman in Moscow, Russia in 2016, a few months before the Trump election. How could I specifically go with the flow? The importance of intersectional thinking when you come across astrology. Let's continue. But if you get the feeling of fighting a futile battle, you may resort to alcohol or drugs for relief. Pause again. I didn't know about astrocartography or barely astrology when I spent 5 months in Moscow for my studies. If there were drugs around, it would have been for me, but there weren't there. So she was drinking. Because there was no way for me the way that the culture is created, especially for women that look like me. In Moscow, there's no way for you to go with the flow, to ease into the culture. It's not an option that's available to me, that was available to me or to people who look like me. Let's continue. It is difficult here to follow a focused path in life. Instead, let yourself be led by whatever happens. Trust that you will arrive in the right place in the end. Seen from this perspective, dubious and inexplicable coincidences may cause delays and material losses, but they can also point at a different path you might want to take. To look after your health, you should ensure high nutritional food intake, sufficient sleep, and regular periods of rest. I will get into a full-blown story time about this at another point, but if I let myself be led by whatever happens, I would have been kidnapped multiple times. I'm talking Liam Neeson taken, kidnapped. So when I tell you that, yes, all of this was true and would have been helpful for me to know before I spent those 5 months studying abroad in Moscow? Yes, but if I went in with the mindset of, oh, I could just relax into this. I could just let myself be led for whatever happens, and just trust that I will arrive at the right place in the end, I would have ended up in a trunk, sold for parts. Now, did somebody ask me to be interviewed for a documentary talking about my experience in Moscow? Yes. Did I do the interview, and will I potentially be in this pretty big documentary coming up soon? Possibly. Will I be sharing more information about that right now? No, because nothing has actually been confirmed. But the astrology was giving, but only giving in part because my blackness and my black womanhood was not taken into account. So when I look at somebody's chart, I try my best to look at them as a whole person. Yes, the stars are included, but also so is your lived experience. So is your cultural and ethnic background. So is your family history. So is your level of ability, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, your trauma. It can also be seen in your chart, but the kinds of trauma, as a Black woman, I know that, and other Black women can attest to this, we get hit from all kinds of fronts. So the way that we can communicate, which is shown in your chart, could have more layers to it, especially when you look at the planets that are around the houses and all of that, but also your lived experience. So helping us to be able to better communicate our feelings, better communicate our experiences, to learn how to communicate our pain. All of these lessons can be seen in somebody's chart if you look at somebody as a whole. And the thing that I'm most concerned with a lot of white astrologers is that there's a lack of looking at the wholeness of somebody when interpreting their chart. Yes, a soul is a soul, but a soul has an experience in a body that varies from person to person, and that colors a birth chart. So this is part 2 of Let's Look at Astrology intersectionally. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, type them in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you would like me to look at your chart and have a nice conversation, tell you what I see, ask a couple questions. It's fine if you cry. It happens sometimes. Reach out, link in bio or below. You know what to do. I really got to figure out how to sign off on these things better, because I think that's it. I'm pretty sure that that's it. But yeah, okay. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.